Call the meeting to order. Begin with roll call.
Mr. Dilts,
Here.
Ms. Jones,
Here.
Mr. Flintz here, Mr. Toth,
Here.
Mr. Salzar,
Here.
Mr. Uselak, Attorney Cassell. Here. We have a forum.
Stand with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? I would like to add just a brief, referring to the minutes. I just wanted to share a quick rule on adjourning a meeting. So when an agenda has been completed and the final item is adjournment, any board member who motions for adjournment adjourns the meeting. You don't need a second. So if you always wonder why I just skip over that part and don't do a second on it. So it's just a Robert's rule. It's just, you got the whole agenda, you're to adjournment. Anybody can say we're done and we're done.
Right.
If there's no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we have minutes and an agenda and no old business, so we'll move on to new business. Who'd like to, okay.
I was just gonna make a copy for Chick.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
tell you at the end. So, first of all, Craig is not here tonight. He's at he would have handled this otherwise. He's at a meeting of the Spring Rose Heath HOA. We're trying to get a connection between that neighborhood and the Penzi Trail, and we need them to sell us not even a quarter acre or give us an easement. It's just a sidewalk, but it's just going through all the necessary steps. So this is a right-of-way transfer agreement. I think it's in the packet. Between us and Cherville. Cherville, this is at the corner of Austin and 77th in Cherville. And somewhere down the road, they will make a intersection improvement. Could be a roundabout, could be turning lanes. They don't know yet. But we were trying to set this up, so Craig is wanting to get 50 grand from them. And they said, sure, let's have this agreement that in the future, we can have your parts of your property for this roundabout or whatever. That could be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. I have no idea. Having said all that, Lou has some concerns with the way it's written because it is very kind of a sort of maybe whenever around this happens, Lou wants a legal description. We don't know what that. There's not even a design yet. It won't take up much. So we would like for this to be deferred until the next meeting. And so Lou can clean things up and we can get this squared away. But I'm happy to answer questions now if that's what you would like. I said, it doesn't appear it's going to be a lot of land. And one of the goals of Cherville, this will affect, we will have a sidewalk or bike path across this because Cherville's long-term plan is to get a sidewalk along 77th Avenue from 41 to Klein to tie into the Penzi bike trail. There's issues with that, particularly when you get to Klein, there's a cemetery that's, and they actually have, they're very, it's easy to work with them, but they have a number of grave site's right up against the road, and there's just no room. Yeah, not much room to work, so that's down the road and way down the road, and who knows if it'll ever be able to get pulled off. So, but anyway, so I would request that we just table this, defer it, whatever the right term is, until the next meeting.
Motion to table it for the next meeting.
Seconded.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Can I, just before I get too far?
Yeah.
Luke, can you take a look at that last paragraph as well on the recitals about the fact that they supersede the use of the county? And whether or not there's different language that could be used, maybe not so demanding, so to speak?
I will. You gotta look at the whole thing, because
Yeah.
there's no where, and there's no when, and there's no why. We've got to tighten this up quite a bit. And there just wasn't enough to do it before tonight's meeting.
Right.
So we'll come back next month, and thank you for that information.
It probably should be an easement as opposed to a right of way, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to- That's all I have.
Thank you.
Next is consider a donation from Lake Heritage Parks Foundation.
I will take that. Thank you, Mr. President. At Lake Heritage Parks Foundation meeting that we held on August 20th, so just recently, the foundation board voted to donate 283 acres south of Cedar Lake, part of our Cedar Lake Marsh project, I guess we would call it at this point. You know, the park department board owns the other half where Brenda Roberts' property was. The foundation held this other half in partial or in title with the DNR. And we voted to donate our interest to the park department so that they could enter into an agreement, if you so choose, with the DNR as far as managing the property, which somebody from the DNR is here to talk about that, and he'll talk about that in a little bit. But that was the reason for it. And I know we talked about this briefly at the last meeting. If you guys have any questions, we're certainly willing to answer them, but the foundation board did vote unanimously to donate the property to the park board if you should choose to sell the property.
Yeah, a couple of little items, notes. We refer to, because this is what we do, South Cedar Lake Marsh. We also refer to it as the Hawkinson property, and you'll hear the Roberts property. We can all get very confusing.
Well, here, the Hawkinson property and the Roberts property make up South Cedar Lake Marsh.
So
There you go.
there you go. And I know within that, Lou's working on some of the legal stuff. There's more than one parcel even in the Hawkinson property, if I'm not mistaken. So, and then as Chris mentioned, Jake will speak later to what the DNR would like to do, but for our process, Lake Heritage Parks Foundation donates it, you accept it if you so desire, and then we will work out an agreement with the DNR to manage it for hunting purposes. We will handle the recreation, and I personally don't ever see it being much more than a natural area kind of park with some hunting, some trails, some, it's gonna be kind of what it is, just a little bit improved. And improved is such an
Interesting term.
such an interesting term for this guy. So,
Beautiful property. It's got all kinds of wooded wetland. There's a little bit of everything on it. The part we're talking about that DNR, they'll talk about a little later, the Hawkinson portion would be the hunted portion. The other portion of Robert's side would be more of a preserve, right? I mean, that's kind of what we would talk about.
sure, yes, Brenda, yes.
Yeah.
We will,
She's not here.
So I'm guessing that the Hawkinson property is the one right by Pinecrest then?
Yes, that's correct.
And then Vernon's house on.
Yeah. That's the one toward the east. Yeah. This is the west side. I know we had these at the last meeting. I thought Craig had these. We could give you a visual. Did you guys get these?
and we have Jake at the end of this agenda, and since you're asking questions, I don't know, Mr. President, it'd be better just, Jake's here to answer questions.
Combine the two right now.
Yeah, do it right now, ask, because he can explain more.
Zach.
Zach, why did I say that?
You keep calling Jake.
It's Zach.
It's okay.
Okay,
I go by Hey You, I go by.
once you get south of like two, yeah. So if you would like to, yeah, if you wanna do your thing now, you can.
Yeah, well, I didn't bring anything official. Thank you all for having me, first of all. And as Jim alluded to, and Chris, I've been working, or we've all been working together now for going on a year. Talking about how this agreement's gonna look and how these properties are gonna be co-managed between the Parks Department once that hopefully happens, and the DNR Department of Natural Resources, who we retain 50% ownership of the other portion of those properties as well. Kind of went in on a knocker agreement to help purchase those properties, and our kind of goal on this whole thing is just to kind of get them opened up for public use and for the users of Lake County, essentially. So where we kind of fall in on the whole agreement thing, to Jim's point, Parks Department obviously would handle all the recreation side of things. We would bring all the funding for the habitat restoration, the hunter management, we facilitate all that side of things, all the infrastructure that's there that relates to habitat and those kinds of things. And kind of where we see it is, it's another recreational opportunity that's sorely needed up in Lake County for recreational opportunities for the hunters that are local here. I manage a property down in southern Lake County, northern Newton County, and all of our folks are coming from up here to come down there. So it'd be nice to put something in their back door and get that hopefully opened up with your all blessing in doing so. So kind of where we see each other in the partnership, and like I said, I just got the draft deed back, or the draft management agreement back from Craig with some comments from the park staff and Lake Heritage Parks Foundation, I believe. So we're going through that, and we're kind of making some tweaks with that. I got to put it to our legal team to go through again, and then it'll be going back and forth, but I think we're really close. There's some real minor tweaks that have been done to that. So
The main thing was taking the Heritage Foundation.
correct.
Yeah,
I misspoke on that.
We're not involved.
And at our meeting, we had a long conversation about it. We know very well what the foundation's role is in this whole thing. And we fulfilled that. And now by donating the property to the park board, we're doing yet something else we're supposed to be doing. And
Yeah, the foundation has held the property for the board for a number of years, because they can manage it, and it's easier for them to rent and do whatever. And we'd always hoped, and it's just isn't in the cards right now, that it could have been donated and we could have flipped it for grant money, it's without having to put any cash out. It could have been used as a match.
yeah.
But unless you know of something downstate that I don't, there's nothing really out there. There's land or water, it's kind of gone for a while, and so be it.
Yep. Yeah, so basically, kind of just to recap, kind of what we're going to bring to the table is, we're going to bring our staff. We have a pretty good staff at LaSalle, and our staff would be involved with the boundary postings and all the initial infrastructure, setting of that. We have plans on putting public access sites at both sites, which would be basically boat launches, thing like that. It'd be a small site for the Cedar Lake Marsh, but just enough to get a kayak in or a small John boat or something like that to facilitate some better access to their small gravel parking lot, nothing major. And then obviously signs that would basically tie the whole property to the agreement between Division of Fish and Wildlife and Lake County Parks. Both partners would be acknowledged with that. And then obviously our conservation officers would be in control of those properties to keep those kind of safe, and keep the folks that shouldn't be in there out of there, and make sure the folks that are in there are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then, like I said, our funding would go towards hopefully future acquisition to expand those sites in cooperation with you all. And then, so I guess if you all have any questions, that's kind of.
I don't remember if we talked about it, but the conservation officer's legal authority would supersede anything the county has.
Correct.
Okay, so in terms of, like, county has an ordinance against 4x4s and all, that's all gonna be state conservation, state DNR regulations, which is a step up above a lot of what we do.
Yeah, and with that point, it would be handled under the all of our fish and wildlife rules and regulations. We manage, I think it's like 60,000 acres across the state of Indiana, fish and wildlife areas. All those rules would go into place for this property so that everything was upheld. All drawings that would be done would be allocated. We'd be limiting the number of folks that are out there at a given time. be super mindful just because of the settings of that property to make sure that those users are kind of kept in check and that things don't get crazy. We're just not gonna open the doors and let anybody that they want out there with guns and stuff. It's gonna be highly regulated from our property.
Zach, what's your, I'm an avid waterfowl hunter. What's your plans on like limiting, when you're saying limiting, how many people are you doing blinds, or you gonna do stakes with boats, or what's your initial plan?
Yeah, so I think our initial plan is to kind of manage the hunting access similar to how we do at the main property, which would be to take the total acreage of the property and divide it into like 40 acres. So we'd allow, I believe when I looked at it in the past, it'd be like something around 3 parties on that site. We'd also limit the pressure down to where we'd only hunt until like noon, 1 o'clock, so that then the birds would have time to come back in. We don't, move them all out of that area. And then we wouldn't hunt it every day either. We'd hunt it like one day and then it would get rested for a couple days and then hunt it again. And like I said, the blinds remain out there. We would definitely allow folks to utilize blinds and do the upkeep on those there.
Would you do it as a if you're doing like say 2 days a week or 3 days a week, would you do it as a draw, or would you do it for the reserve hunt type thing?
We do it as a draw. Early in the season, it depends on how it would fall in our rotation, but it could go into a reserve draw. But there again, we've got a lot of spots on those, so it would still be available most likely after those draws. We've cut our number of reserves significantly at a lot of our properties in the past. So most of our hunting access is through open type draws at the properties. So it'd be pretty, I shouldn't say easy to get in because nothing's easy to get in. I don't get to hunt near as much on my own property as I'd like to, but it'd be the most fair, equitable way to do it, I think.
And then as far as like any other species, I know Craig was talking about turkey or deer or stuff like that. How would that work?
Yeah, it'd be the same process. It would be through draws. The deer hunting is going to be a little trickier to flesh out. We'd probably do some sort of preseason draw for that, and then allow a set number of hunters out there during the whole season. I don't really want to go through shuttling people for a 5-day hunt period, so it'd probably be, something along the lines of, I don't know, looking at the huntable acreage, but probably 6 to 8 people for the season. That'd be through a pre-draw, or maybe give them a month of October. I'm just kind of on here a little bit, but give them a month of October, give us another set of hunters the month of November, and so on and so forth, so that you can kind of rotate as many folks as you can through the site in a year. And turkey would be done through a draw, just like we do on our main fish and wildlife areas. So super limited, couple folks probably would be all that'd be suited on that site. So
Very good.
Yeah.
I also live right there too. I bought up right there. So, I was thinking about the HOA, and then you got all those $1 million houses right there too. As long as you keep it kind of what it is now, and that doesn't get too noisy over there, I think you won't have any problems.
Yep. And we had talked with Craig and Chris and Jim at meetings about establishing safety boundaries and effective buffers around the hunted areas to eliminate, the potential for issues.
Give that opportunity to the residents. For sure, it's a good thing. So it's a nice acquisition for us to be able to, partner with you guys.
Yep.
Very good.
Other questions? I'd just like to say one more time too, thanks to Chris and Jim for kind of working through this. It's been a long process, but they've been good to work with, and it's been, I think I can see the finish line. So
It feels good.
It feels good, yeah. Yeah. So thank you all again for having me.
Yeah. And Mr. President, if there's no other questions, do we need a motion to accept the?
We have not accepted the donation yet.
Okay, I would make a motion to accept the donation from the Heritage Foundation, the County Heritage Foundation to the Parks Department.
Lake County Heritage Parks Foundation.
Yeah.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We've accepted the donation.
Thank you very much.
And we've completed the DNR
So you're good.
Presentation. You're welcome to hang out. Member of understanding with the Lake County Sheriff's Department.
I'll go ahead and take that. A while back, we had some folks at the Sheriff's Department that we've worked with over the years approach us. They've started a new program where, because of the new technology, they're able to now have access to some cameras in some high-risk areas, schools, places like that. And they approached us to see if we wanted to do something with the water park, which we decided would be a good idea because we were making a bunch of improvements with the cameras and the systems anyway. Having the Sheriff's Department be able to access that in case of an emergency, we felt was a good idea. And if you look at the MOU, that's really what it is. It gives them the ability to tap into the cameras we allow when there's a situation that would behoove them to do that. And so Lou looked at the MOU when they sent it over, made some changes. They were fine with the changes, sent it back, and that's where we're at. So it's just at the water park, and that's the address you see on the MOU. And it is, I'm sorry, no, it's not the address. Yeah, that's our address. 8411. At any rate, it's for the water park cameras. Those are the only ones they do have access. So,
No cameras here.
yeah, we don't.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, there's that one right there. That's the thing. If anybody can access that.
Right.
Yeah, the only other cameras would be in the building.
Yeah.
They're only concerned with places that you have, yeah, high risk.
Yeah, they can only access it when they're only going to be accessing it when there's an emergency situation. It's not like a Las Vegas style security.
It
thing
spells
where
it.
somebody's watching it at all.
It also gives them the chance to go back and look if something does happen.
Yeah.
Like we've had fights before. They don't need us to give them all the information to go back and look at the situation. They can actually go back and look at it. Because we give them the login for the stuff we want them to have. That's really all it is.
Will not access or monitor
That's correct.
unless or until an emergency is deemed to be occurring.
Mm-hmm.
I have some questions.
Sure.
Who decides if an emergency is occurring?
Well, we will generally call. They're not, I guess I should restate that. They have police officers on site when we're operating. If they notice something going on, they will have the ability to make that determination. We could also make that determination and call them and say, hey, there's a situation over here. You might want to fire these up so you guys can be watching it as well.
That would be on site, either Nicole, the general manager, or Chris. And usually the officers and the management works together.
And they'll only be getting,
yeah, this is a problem.
Chris will only be giving them the information for the cameras in the public spaces. They will not get anything for like our back of house stuff or, down in the control areas.
So these are our cameras
There are cameras, correct.
and you're deciding which ones?
Yeah, correct.
Is it just within the water park or is it on the highway also?
No, just the water. Well, they may have something with the highway department and all that.
No, I mean, what?
We don't have anything.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they were.
Oh, no. This is just our cameras watching our stuff in the public spaces at the water park because of the attractiveness of, possibly being a target.
Well, that's the, we're just,
Yeah.
we can have.
But does it say?
Yes, it does. Yep. I didn't even pick that up until I just said it.
I have a question too. I don't understand how is the word emergent used in these things? Because I see the word emergency, but then emergent, and I looked it up. I did on Webster's. Still didn't really understand how it was going to apply in this MOU. So how are we using that word, emergent situations?
Well, it should be an emergent situation, right? Or, well, emergent doesn't make sense either.
Emergent event and.
They
We're
could,
looking at an adjective form of the word emergency.
they could,
That's the one that's got the best education.
So I. You need a teacher.
We have situation where we're like, this could be a problem and they want to preemptively monitor. I mean,
yeah.
you do the job enough, you're like, okay,
we need to call and we need to make some decisions
Before
they become an emergency.
I think.
Well, and I can also see, John, if we receive, if we received a threat, if we got a threat online somehow, that means that they can turn it on before it happens. Somebody posts something.
Well, if they turn it on before it happens, that means it's on all the time, because how would they know when it's gonna happen?
No, it would still require one of us or one of their officers on site to say, we may have an issue. I see it may not come up or something like that. There's, after working there for 15 years, I can tell you that there are situations where you see groups come in and just from the behavior, you know immediately you're gonna have it. And in that situation, it would be the park staff or even the officers that say, you know, why don't you guys watch this for a little while, see what's happening. And again, threats.
And it's all DVR, right, basically? all
It's,
that.
yeah,
You
it's
gotta
all
look
digital
for
recorder.
24
Yeah.
hours or whatever, if you go back.
I believe it's in the cloud.
But I think,
It's
a cloud, yeah.
No, it's always, it's always access is what they're getting.
Right.
It's not that we're not turning it off.
If
We
emergent
want to.
situation, emergent event, or
Right,
whatever they want to call it.
And in here as well, it does say that if they do that, let's say the officers say may have an issue and they kick it on, they have to let me know as soon as they do that.
Right.
That's part of the deal. They can't just.
Well, they can't just kick it on without our approval. Or can they?
No, they would be.
They would be able to. Well, yeah, but they
So we
have,
don't have
they
that
have to.
visibility.
In case of an emergency, they can kick it on because we might be busy doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my concern is that using that word is going to allow this to evolve into a situation where they're just gonna do it all the time.
right. Okay, we can change that.
That's exactly my.
We can get a clarification. Yep.
Yeah. I don't think that's what you want.
No, not at all.
I've watched the same sci-fi movies, yes.
No, you're right. And if the word is confusing, that's something we need to, yeah.
I believe too, on the administrative side of it, like we can see like who is logging in, because everybody's like a unique username and all that, and we'll be able to see like, you know, they're watching it for a time period of time as well.
I would think that unless something actually happens, that they shouldn't have to watch it like live,
Yeah.
because you can.
We can always go back too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is if
Yeah.
you have the access with the cloud, where an event does happen, and then they, just like you guys give them information currently on what happened, that they have to determine that, they should be able to go back to the cloud in that event once they notify us or whatever.
Right, and they do have to do that.
But as far as like he's saying, if they're actually saying, well, I think it's an emergent event, or whatever we call it, they shouldn't be just sitting there watching it. They can go down there and physically watch it.
Well,
I think a lot of it-
yes, and no.
A lot of it,
Cameras give a better viewpoint sometimes.
some of it stem from, because I was initially contacted. and-
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's been a change.
it's even stemming through an active shooter situation, that's what's an active situation.
Yeah.
And the officers who are trying to deal with that, the real-time command center could actually pull up the cameras and say, okay,
Yes.
this is what's going on. Our shooter is in this location, and our men here, this is where you guys need to go once you're actually at the facility. And help them out.
Yeah, there's certainly advantages, otherwise we would.
We definitely want to act in the best interest of the public with how we let that be done.
And they do have to let me know when they do it, and they have to document and inform me of when they did it,
Yeah.
why they did it, what the condition was. That-
And that type of event, I mean, I would say that they would have immediate access to it if they needed to. And not only, I mean, hopefully that never happens, you know.
Felonies, we do more there, that if there was ever a child that was reported missing, okay, you could pull these up and have better access.
Sure.
Okay, they're calling me now, I'm pulling up a camera and saying, okay, trying to trace, these are the experts. Better control, and get better response. So.
Yeah, I'm perfectly willing to go back to them and point out the changes we want made, and have those changed.
Yeah, I just think the reading of it just needs to be consistent.
Okay,
I think if it just said emergency, events or something like that.
Yeah.
Whoever deems them that.
I guess I'll make a motion to table it till next month because the water park's not open anyway, right?
Good point.
So let's table it, get the language.
That sounds great.
And then we'll revisit it next month.
When do we have, I'm never using it, trying to follow that. What steps do we have to remediate that?
We just changed our access.
Yeah, we can pull it back instantly and.
Yeah, make a
There's
phone call to the
people-
sheriff.
Yeah, policies in there.
Yeah.
You have to get your historic out, Lou, and
Yeah, 30
figure out.
Yeah, 30 days, but, I mean, worst comes to worst, we can change, you can change it, he can change it instantly. He'll be able to get it.
And we can shut them off.
Yeah, we can shut, that's it, he can shut it down. Yeah, we have complete control over that system. If we decide nobody gets into it, we can say we. Yeah, you can make it.
Saying we.
Yeah, I'd say we pretty little, because Chris can make it so if that's the case. I can barely operate the radio on my phone.
I think there are a lot of reasons to do this.
I agree, yeah. But we can clean it up, we have time.
Yeah, we can play it.
You know, and the counterpoint with Chris said, I was at IAPA conference once and there, Disney was there about security and somebody said, you know, do you have cameras all the time? Well, we have cameras that can say what you took, put it in the garbage. But the problem with cameras and screens is it becomes wallpaper and it doesn't really, you blur out. And he says, we still have people that you don't even know they're security. And Disney still relies upon physical people monitoring because if you have a wall of screens, you're like, you just.
Well, that's what it takes, you can't tell what they're doing.
Yeah.
You can't replace
It's
experience.
the people on the ground that makes a huge difference.
We've done it enough that many of us could walk into that park tomorrow and know who's up to something and who isn't.
The whole guy got it.
We got a motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion to table.
Motion table in a second. Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Table. Change order, Gluth Brothers.
I can take that.
Please.
So in your packet, you're gonna see the follow-up invoice to the quote you approved the last, for the month before.
That's the last thing.
So on the original, quote for the roofing system, there is the structural repairs, which is also approved in that original quote. Because there was some damaged wood that's in there. But you'll see that we did add a gutter protection because of the gutters that we had to get rid of, not going to.
Well, we added leaf guards, just to keep, our guys had put up leaf guards from Menards, and they really weren't working, and so I said, how much? And they told me, and I said, just do it. Well, you're sort of ratifying what I already agreed to, and apologize, but through the channels, but the roofers were doing everything, you know, and I just like.
Okay, motion to accept the change order for Gluth Brothers Roofing Co. Inc.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion seconded, discussion?
So the 54,000 is on top of what we approved?
No.
So, clarification.
That's all, that's complete.
No further questions?
If I'm not mistaken, that's still less than what they're all, well, even with all that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. There you go. It's not dripping on somebody's head, right?
There's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Chris, didn't send somebody new. They ran back there to do a good job out there. We all did a great job.
The drain ones.
Yeah. They did a really good job.
It always happens.
How about the others that have been around? Or
The nails.
No, they ran magnet every year, a lot, but still,
yeah,
it happens.
so,
Acceptance of claims. Have a motion.
motion.
Second.
Motion seconded, discussion?
Just following up on our discussion last time, did you talk to the guy who did his marketing about meeting?
Yeah, it's gonna be, we can do a call or a Zoom. It's gonna be difficult to get Tom here because his wife has Alzheimer's and, you know,
Understood.
but I will give you something here and to kind of show you, where's that? This, Tom does, this is Tom. He, this is a breakdown of this past year's buys, and you'll see there's two columns. One is the actual cash buy, and then the other is the in-kind trade, which is 250. Typically, when Tom is dealing with smaller market radio and smaller market TV and sort of like down in West Lafayette and Fort Wayne and all, he's trading a lot of that. So he's giving them tickets that they then have in
They use them for
promos and whatever. So you kind of see that. And to give you and we talked about Spotify a little bit, anywhere between 40 to 60% of Spotify in any given month, people pay to not have commercials. So that makes social media difficult because people just don't listen. They don't listen to commercials anymore. I know you don't. But in 1995, Tom, our budget was not $244,949. I did ran the calculator for what that would be in today's money with inflation, $525,000 if you compare dollars, you know, and brought it forward. We may be, and things have changed too. I mean, the competition that we have for people to come is greater than it ever was. And you got to think beyond other water park. As we've talked, radio, we had man count here. We had an entire live show that was like a $50,000 deal and we paid nothing for it. Those days, they're gone. Newspapers are gone and all. So that's the breakdown.
Did they stop when they rode the cow out, the Kelseys or whatever?
No, that was earlier. Here's my man count story. The sound check was at 4:00. The police were here at 4:30. We had to open the gates at 6:30 because they were lined up on the highway. And radio is theater.
Sure.
And so our mechanic at the time called from our Cedar Lake maintenance area when it was down by Lemon Lake and said, Jim, I'm going to be naked. I'll be there in 15 minutes. It was on my voicemail.
Wow.
Because Mancal told him. And
Yeah.
it was like, no, you got to understand what's going on here. But it's painful to me because I slept on the concrete floor of my office that night and I didn't sleep. And, but anyway, we'll bring something with Tom, getting him here is going to be difficult.
Yeah, this is good. I like how it's broke down. At least we can kind of see.
Well, and I will tell you that
that
Matt and I, over the years, I worked with Tom since 93 or 4, argue about buys and about what, like, do we really want to do that? Is that? And Tom, will check impressions and he manages it because you got to go to Chicago and buy radio or television to get the impressions. I could get it cheaper at WJLB and who's going to be listening?
What's this trade in kind? What's the cash? Is it a combination?
This is what he spent.
Yeah.
And this is what we got in kind trade. If you flip back, that's stuff that he traded to these media outlets, either in tickets or whatever. Yeah. So, and it does add up.
The Lafayette Macaroni Kid.
So did I. Go ahead.
It's kind of like a.
Kids bloggers.
Well, and we've worked.
Cute
And I don't know if it's, that's probably one of those, I'm not sure it's all on there, but we have worked with mom influencers and mom bloggers before. And they want tickets and they want things to get in and whatnot. So, but that's some of the ways we try to do it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's complicated. It's like,
We wish there, and it's more complicated. If we were in West Lafayette, it'd be so simple. Cause we'd be it. And you have one radio station, you have one couple of radio stations and one television and as I said, the only way to get the Chicago news here is to have a shooting or something. Not us,
Still.
general, county in general. So that's, I hope that answers, John.
Yep, nothing further, thank you.
Any other discussion regarding the claims? Or there's no further discussion? Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I don't believe we have any committee reports unless staff has some.
When we get to the end, I'll talk a little bit about where
I
our
was gonna
budget
ask you
comes
if you
in.
wanted to talk about it.
Well, maybe there again.
Those three division reports. Who would like to start?
Yes, since Craig's not here, I'll go ahead and start. As I stated at the last meeting, Sleepy Boat tickets, they went on sale August 23rd. As predicted, they sold out. And just wait for this, because the first person got in 1:30 in the morning,
Wow.
or into the AM tickets.
No,
It wasn't.
I didn't make you.
First of the morning person. We got Lou to get there, but yeah, so 1:30 in the morning, they started keeping. I think most people showed up about 4 to 5 o'clock window. Yes. Yeah, tomorrow, I dress in LA. And the show, yes, it begins tomorrow, Friday and Saturday this weekend, Friday and Saturday next weekend as well. I've said this before, but this program is fairly $3. Right around years for the entire event, meeting anywhere between 60 to 70 friends, very few staff, actually present. So just a big thank you to those volunteers that come straight from work, get there at 5:30, 6 at they're there at 11:30, follow something to go there.
And one voice.
And I know we have our next meeting before Fall Fest, but a reminder that Fall Fest is October 11th and 12th at Buckley Homestead from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. $5 admission for those older than 7. That's always a nice, typical event. Family journey, meeting bond, it's nice time down there. The Deep River Grinders, they have 3 more home games this season, September 14th, September 21st, and October 5th, all at 2 p.m. And then I don't know what Sandy really is for the Grinders. What is she, your team manager?
No.
A little
Sandy,
director.
she writes all of that and she researches all the articles about rule changes. She really gets into, she's not in the sabermetrics because she believes like I do, a lot of them are pretty stupid. But she researches all the historical stuff and writes all the articles, puts it all together, and then we print it here.
And I didn't get it in the board packet, but even, she's put together some numbers over the last few years. And this year, the Grinders are averaging about 260 people per game. So pretty impressive. A day when it rained, yeah, and I think you guys still had about 70 that came out there or something, so.
We actually,
But back to the metrics, how many runs did they score?
no, well, the one game we like 14 to something, and then this last weekend, the Grinders won and they lost.
It was a grinder on grinder game, and
It was the only way to guarantee a win. But we actually, and I don't interrupt, but
no, it's okay.
we've been talking to people, and Sandy did this when she was, Sandy will also keep score during the games, except she's done for the season because it's football. And I can't interrupt her.
No, you cannot.
No. She was walking out, a lot of people have been coming for 15, 20 years. And a couple of weeks ago, Rob Heisler, one of our players, the Jim. There's a guy, 75, and he had been at the very first game we had in 1992. One was in Columbus, 2 was here. And he keeps coming back and he's like, this is just great. So, there you go. Yeah, it's. Ultimately,
You gotta tell me you're gonna have him start keeping score.
well, maybe. Cause none of the players can.
All right, so that's the Grinders, great program, and thanks to them too, because really those are all volunteers. to make that program happen. Lemon Lake, this past Friday, they had a party in the park there at Lemon Lake. It was from 4 to 6 p.m. This was a spin off of our playground grant of last year, so we carried it over to this year. The Cedar Lake Parks Department supplied Nerf guns, we had a Nerf gun war, there was a foam party, the touch a truck with emergency vehicles, and all in all, they had over 700 people came to this. It was
There were
just
kids every.
Crown Point Library. I mean, it was just the playground, Nerf wars, the foam party was. Thank God I didn't let my child get in it. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, staff's already planning for an even bigger one next year. So that was nice. And then Stony Run on the weekend of August 23rd and 24th, they were a host to the Indiana Interscholastic Cycling League for grades 6 through 12. They had about 125 mountain bikers come out. These people do volunteer. They clean up Stony Run. Even after talking to Jen after the event, this is a great group. They come in, they volunteer on the trails, they leave a bit of garbage. They are there. They have a great time. And this is probably the 3rd or 4th year. Easily.
Easy.
Like I said, they brought about 125 racers and 400 spectators. So,
Wow.
good team success. That's all
I wanna thank you again for like thinking outside the box on a lot of this stuff. I would have never guessed in a million years that all this stuff goes on if I wasn't sitting in this room. And every time when I talk to a group of individuals, I brag about you guys, about everything that the park are doing for these events. It's just, it's great. It's great.
There's some creative people there.
There is, and it's awesome to be able to do that in the public and stuff. You know, for our residents here, it's amazing. Yeah, Yep.
I'll go ahead and go ahead. Turkey Creek had a really good month over there. Just, staff's been doing a really good job keeping the course up, especially with, I guess the month started off a little wet, but now it's kind of in this dry spell here. And it's an understatement, but staff's been doing a really good job keeping the course playable, and people have been coming out. Cedar Creek started off a little slow with all the wetness. They were closed for almost about a week there with all the rain we had early in the month. So that kind of hurt their month, but overall Cedar Creek's having a really good year. We were talking about that a little bit before the meeting. Just really encouraging to see what that course has been able to do this year and having their busiest day ever. As I talked about last month, and Chris, who's the manager over there, is doing a really good job keeping the course together and, he's the only full-time person we have there. And he's been doing really good at kind of keeping everything together and keeping it all running this year up there. I know he's really appreciative. They had an irrigation break up there, and the carpenters came out today and knocked it out, dug it out, and knocked it out on a 4-inch irrigation main. So he was really appreciative that they did that.
Especially when it's dry as it is.
Especially with this dry as it is.
We're desperate to keep water on
Of course, from the screens.
your water. Not much.
Over at the water park, the season's over. Labor Day was the last day. As you can see on the attendance sheet, for the year, the water park did about 132,000 people, which is up from 2024. And it is also the busiest season the water park has had since COVID, or actually in the post-COVID world, I should say, which is kind of when things really changed over there. I've really been encouraged about that and the increase that we've had this year and the success of the programs and a lot of the things that we've done over there. This year, and staff's hoping to build on that going into next year and working on continuing we had a record number of season passes sold this year, and just kind of maintaining that and hoping to kind of capitalize on all the new subdivisions and all the year Jim gave it all away. But maintaining on all the so many new subdivisions and so many new people coming in, and I think there's just been a lot of people coming out and visiting the park that have never been out there before, and it's been really encouraging and positive to kind of see that. Other than that, staff's been working on draining everything down, and hard to believe it's starting to prepare for ice skating, which opens up the day after Thanksgiving, November 28th, weather permitting, of course. It could be 90 if it's 14 days. Yeah, exactly. But I ran some numbers in our point of sale system. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there with some food and beverage stuff because we talk about Dippin' Dots a lot in here. as we talk about expenses. This year, as a whole, we served 29,600 cups of Dippin' Dots. We just kind of give a number there, and 2,000 pizzas, 8,100 orders of chicken strips, and about 14,000 orders of french fries. So just kind of a realization of what we do over there.
You didn't do the total revenue?
The total revenue was
Dippin'
about,
Dots?
Dippin' Dots was just, I actually did, just Dippin' Dots alone, the revenue was about $202,000 a year, which is almost 50% of the entire food and beverage operation, about 500,000 a year. So yeah, just that one ice cream, about 50% of all the money in food and beverage. And it's a stand that's run by no more than 2 employees throughout the course of the day, and high profit margins, and we love it, so. Other than that, on the IT front, we have officially moved away from Xerox/Michigan Office Solutions as our backup security kind of management company. We've moved forward with Morgan Berger, which is a company we've worked with on and off throughout the years at various park sites and various IT things. They're coming in and doing essentially the exact same thing that Michigan Office Solutions was doing for us for about half the price, and we're also able to add in backing up Belarus now for that same half the price of what we were paying Michigan Office Solutions. But that is officially started today at all the here Water Park and at Belarus for all the servers and data there. And we are also moving forward with our time clock project. I've talked about it a little bit with moving that database onto the cloud, and that project finalizes here in the next 2 weeks. We'll go live with that, and then at that point, we won't be hosting any of our own data anymore, which is really good for us on the security end. That's all in the cloud, and the responsibility lies on those partners then to make sure that that data is secure, and not so much liability here on us as hosting all that employment data and point of sale data ourselves. Really concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
You guys, was there any pre-votes or anything for these ice skating parties or anything? You guys get any leads on any stuff like that yet?
They were just changing over the website yesterday to the ice skating stuff. So hopefully we will going forward. Yeah, I think there was
We had a couple last year, right?
Yeah, exactly. We had a couple private events last year. We're working on, staff's been kind of wrapping their brains over there, trying to come up with maybe some one-off events, special nights, and theme weeks with things we can do this year. Yeah, kind of making. Exactly.
Fall party.
So, I suggested that, and I don't know if it was the ice, so it's
Figure pickleball on it.
Yeah.
Well, that just sounds like a liability nightmare. We talked about bringing stuff in, and I really don't have a lot to talk about. You guys have anybody have questions, Chris? If not, I will continue to move on. Thank you. Like Chris said, yeah, things have been strong. We've actually seen a better year this year than we have in a few years past, and that is encouraging. The numbers, the amount of people, the impressions from the websites, and we got all those numbers the other day. Yeah, everything looks much stronger, and I think with Cedar Creek especially, the community's changing over there, more rooftops over there. We're just starting to see, and as we were talking earlier, we thought everybody at one point was coming from Crown Point to Cedar Creek. Now they're starting to come from the area, so things are changing and evolving, and it's really nice to see. And the numbers do reflect that a little bit. They don't look too bad for everything we've been through this year. We had a couple big ticket hits, and so not too bad to look at. Really the only thing I would have, and I'm going to let Jim go ahead and speak to it, we were both at the meeting, would be the budget process, where we're at in it. 2026 budget is the same as the 2025 budget for the moment. There's a hiring freeze.
That came out of the meeting.
Well, that came out of the regular council meeting. They kind of started in the budget meeting, and there's been a ton of positions left open that they're going to do away with. And what departments would do is maybe have 10, 15, 20 positions and never fill them. And then, so your appropriations up here, and then when they don't fill them, they're allowed to maneuver, they can maneuver that and put that appropriation into another fund or another line item, and that's how they manage their budget.
It becomes about transfer.
But when you look at
going, 2028, the crap's gonna hit the fan. We're gonna lose 12 to 20% depending upon what numbers you look at, which could affect us $1 million to like $1.8 million loss from the baseline, which I'm calling right now. And take everything I'm saying for what it's worth, because it's still in flux and fluid. But when you have those open positions and increase your appropriation, all that means is that 12% got to come off an inflated appropriation that is really kind of non-existent. For us, and I haven't talked to Scott or anybody on this, we have, the hiring freeze is one thing, and hopefully it does not read that it includes seasonal or part-time. Okay, it's really vague. I don't want it, and I got to check to make sure it doesn't include non-reverting, because those aren't funded through a levy. Those are all revenues that we get. And then the other issue going down the road, and I don't know how we're going to play this, is if our appropriation is 9 million something, 2.2 million of that are revenues that we generate, that we deposit into that account. The actual tax levy is around 7 million, less than 7. So, if they take our full amount, that means we're gonna have a bigger cut off that 9 than if they took it off the 6. And then my other thought is, well, if you're gonna take money, how we'll figure out the line items. We just don't have to put money into the budget anymore. We'll keep that all in the non-reverting, and we can run more out of non-reverting, as opposed to, we can meet our obligation if that's how they do it, at the same time, not really changing what we're doing and providing services. So having said all that, the cost of insurance has gotten astronomical. The county is self-funded. It's getting close to $50 million a year to provide insurance for the employees and their families. It's just what it is. And if you're doing anything, well, you gotta talk to the right people. Sign them up. So that's kind of where the budget is. It's all still in flux, and we're sorting through it. But for next year, it's same. 27 will be relatively the same, and then 28 is when we jump off the cliff. Now, I know, did you guys get pay cuts? I know some people at the state level got pay cuts and freezes, and a lot depends upon how you're funded and where it comes from, whether it's tax dollars or like the little Cabinet River Basin Commission, theirs is all in, fees upon properties for stormwater, so they're not really affected, but it's gonna be very interesting.
It was an easy process this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, they typically didn't have to make presentations or anything. We just went there.
We just went and we were told, all right, same as.
Yeah, same. But, so we will see. The other couple of things have to do with the Indiana Parks and Recreation Association. First one, the conference is in Muncie, November 11th through the 13th. We have a board meeting on the 13th, the last day of the conference. We could get here, we hurry after the conference, but I would appreciate it if we could move the November meeting to November 6th, the week before, as opposed, we don't want to go to the 20th, that's like the week before Thanksgiving. If we could move it to November 6th, I appreciate it. If not, I'll get here. I don't know if everybody will, but it just would be helpful to us in the other conference.
It's actually gonna work better.
It works better.
I'm gonna be in Hawaii the week after that.
Okay, so I don't know if you want to.
I'll make to change the meeting from the 13th. What is it?
Yeah, 13th to
13th to the 6th. We have our.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Hey, my pleasure.
Why?
We're at. Oh, you don't have time for this. Yeah, come on. We need a second and a vote.
How do I get to that meeting? Yeah.
We have a motion to change next month's meeting from the second Tuesday to the first Tuesday.
We have a motion there, second.
Thursday,
November.
November.
Yeah.
2025.
Do we have a second?
Yes, 2 seconds. Julie did.
You have a motion and a second. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, then the last thing I have still involves Park and Recreation. You have in your packet one of these things.
IPRA has been doing a bunch of research, and it's all part of our public awareness campaign to make people, elected officials, and everybody realize that Park and Rec, which is a broad topic that includes all of us, we are essential services. We protect land, we provide recreational activities. Some departments have after-school programs, lunch programs. There's been this concerted effort, and will continue to develop research, data, and then accompanying marketing pieces, what I'll call them, to put out there to the public and the elected officials. Also, at the same time, not really related, but it is now, the Senate created interim study committees, and I put it in your packet. The Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee has been charged with studying the direct and indirect economic impact of public recreational land, the local and regional economies, tourism, employment, development associated with recreational use, public land. You can read it. I highlighted what they're in about. I also included the people that are on that committee. I had a conversation yesterday, Craig, with Mike Ellsworth. I know Mike. There was that committee met today. We had representatives there, as did the Indiana Conservation Alliance and Indiana Park Alliance and others. And I think they're trying to, the big question is how to fund this. That's what's going to be the question. That's what our members of IPR are getting asked, and we're going to create a committee on how do we go about funding this, given the light of everything that's going on. So I just want to kind of inform you, there's data here. I'm willing to talk at any point in time to anyone or whatever. And if you know any of these people personally, relaying the value of what we do for the public is important. We add wealth to communities, and in light of where we're going to be budget cut wise, if everybody's cut 12%, that's not great, but it's okay. But we don't want other people being cut 10 and we get cut 15. And everybody loves us, but it still comes down to math and dollars and cents and getting the support that help. Even if it wasn't for the budget cuts, this is important for people to understand. Like you said, people are like, what? You do that? Yeah, we do a ton of stuff. Yeah. And so that's why you have this. That's why you have that. And again, I'm always a phone call away. Only.
Very good.
I usually hear.
Read our reports,
That's it.
general discussion.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Thank you for coming out.
I never got today, Gary. They discussed what.
Yeah.